It is week 18 of this NFL regular season, Sarah, and for the Baltimore Ravens, newfound life is the phrase that we begin today with. Welcome inside the Vault for a Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. It's the 29th of December, the final Monday of the 2025 year. I'm Bobby Trossett, joined alongside my co-host and partner, Sarah Ellison. And Sarah, because of what the Ravens did on Saturday night, and then got from Cleveland yesterday in Cleveland, beating the Pittsburgh Steelers and upsetting them. It is a winner-take-all opportunity Sunday night, primetime football in Pittsburgh. Ravens, Steelers win, and you are in. The Ravens are 500 football. It's been an up-and-down season, to say the very least, but they now find themselves with a chance to, one, host a home wild card game the following week as a 4 seed, beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, their arch rival, go back-to-back-to-back division titles, which has never happened in the history of the AFC North, and obviously quiet a lot of, and maybe not ultimately quiet. We'll all have to wait and see how this postseason, if they get there, pans out. But it would certainly, for the time being, quiet a lot of the noise surrounding this organization. So with that, welcome in. Congratulations to you, your fandom, I'm sure, running hot today, knowing that your team is playing meaningful football going into this final frame, week 18.
I'm still in shock. I'm still in shock of what happened over this weekend. I didn't even mention Saturday night. Of course, my BYU Cougars won their bowl game when they were down 21-10 at halftime against Georgia Tech, but that's neither here nor there. But then the Ravens, without Lamar Jackson, Tyler Snoop Huntley playing well, but of course the story of the game is Derrick Henry. They go to Lambeau Field and they pull off an upset. And I'm like happy, but simultaneously upset inside, because I'm like, well, if you did this last week against New England, you wouldn't have to rely on the Browns. Yeah. It's the Browns. So then I'm watching the game on Sunday. I watched the whole thing, as I'm sure many of everybody that's listening did. And I'm like, holy moly, they're up 10-0 in the first quarter. And I'm like, should I get excited, or are the Browns going to brown? And in a way they did. The Browns did brown. They never scored again. Never scored again. But then their defense stood up. The Steelers, they're in shambles. You could see it. They could get no offense going. Had 6 points by halftime. And then the end score is 10-6. The Browns win. Like, I'm still a little bit in shock that it even happened, that all the stars aligned. And so now here we sit on Monday morning. The Ravens.
Just to be clear, Cleveland did score a fourth quarter field goal. So 13-6 was the final. But no touchdown. Okay. And it was essentially a bare bones offensive second half.
13-6. Thank you for getting me there. Not that it even mattered. But here we are. Ravens are going to go into Pittsburgh. They're at negative 3.5 this morning. It's incredible to me, Bobby, that after that loss against the New England Patriots last week, the Ravens were as low as a 2% of making the playoffs. And the way they were going to do it is winning this division. They were at 2%. Last night, after all of this went down, the Ravens skyrocketed to 60%, according to Kalshi, with Pittsburgh at 40%. Charlie Kolar losing his mind, saying, I've never been that nervous playing a game. Thank you, Browns. Browns reaching out to the Ravens because the Ravens tagged them saying thank you. And they're like, don't think we did this for you. And I was like, nope, in my mind, that's exactly why you did it, because you almost never win. Why else would you finally win now? It's for the Ravens, of course. It's just what transpired this weekend is seriously to go from 2% to 60%, all the odds against you. And that's why you never count anybody out. 2% turns into 60, and I'm still in shock that it even happened.
Look, I'm watching that game and the final offensive possession for Cleveland, Sarah, in which Tommy Rees dials up 3 straight runs within field goal position and 1 first down away from getting away unscathed and beating the Steelers outright right then and there. And they ultimately did. And he ultimately entrusted his defense like he had the entire game. And I get it. It's a championship caliber defense. Even though Myles Garrett didn't achieve what I'm sure he went into the game wanting badly, which was the single game single season, I should say, sack record all time, which he'll have a chance to do in week 18. His presence was still felt by Pittsburgh. There's a lot of dialogue between the two fan bases right now in NFL circles in terms of, did Pittsburgh literally sell out so much so to keep, miles away from the sack record and being on the wrong end of history that they lost sight of other areas? But that's neither here nor there, because the Ravens got what they needed, and that was a Cleveland upset. So moving forward, Sarah, part of the reason why I think this number opens up as it does and did, and as you mentioned, 3.5-point favorites, not even knowing whether or not Lamar will be under center for them moving forward. A lot of that has to do with what's going on in Pittsburgh. DK Metcalf, oh my goodness, he goes ahead and makes a horrific judgment, emotional call, right, in an emotional moment with that Detroit fan who's certifiable. He's certifiably nuts, by the way. He held a press conference on Friday with his—
he is nuts.
With his law team. The guy's got a legal team around him, and he's holding a press conference. The guy's psychotic. So, but and hey, I'm sure he is about as far from innocent as it gets. But for DK to lose his cool in that moment, I know it's no guarantee to sit here and say that if Metcalf is out there, they win that game yesterday. But they virtually had no offensive passing attack outside of the end of the second quarter there, leading into halftime in 2 minutes, and then at the end of the game where they were moving the ball efficiently down the field on Cleveland, and it's all for naught. So no DK Metcalf, as we covered last week. That suspension and the appeal to that 2-game suspension is upheld. Okay, we know that. TJ Watt's still dealing with the lungs, Sarah. It's no guarantee that he's going to play defensively for them coming up on Sunday night. Calvin Austin might be out for them. And we all know that teams have struggled to run the ball effectively on the Ravens defense. So look, the Ravens have their fair share of issues. They got to figure out what they can expect and where Lamar is 8 days removed from that back contusion. The last that we saw of him, or at least heard from him, because we saw him on the sideline just this past weekend in Green Bay, but the last we heard from him, as we've covered, the guy could barely stand up straight. And when he talked, he was wincing as if to say, I am in extreme pain. And he said he was in extreme pain that night 8 days ago. So look, if nothing else, this is exactly what everybody wanted. Yes, for not the Ravens season to be decided this late, right? Because knowing the expectations, it should have been decided, and they should have been well into the playoff picture. But given where things are, given the circumstances, the fact that they still have a chance, and it's Sunday night, it's prime time against your arch rival with a chance to host a home playoff game, what more could you ask for if you're a Ravens fan?
Well, and they're being treated like, I mean, all these primetime games that we've been having, Bobby, it's just because I think I just hit a sore spot for you.
I'm hurting,
Bobby's not happy about all these primetime games, but it's like, how could you not? This is all theater. All of it. Everybody thinks it's a script, because it's like the odds of all of this happening is almost nothing. But Bobby, let's dig in a little bit onto the Steelers side. We're going to get to the Ravens side here in just a minute. But the Steelers kind of feel like they're in shambles right now, both like in their mood and with injuries. And we don't celebrate injuries, but it's just the state. It's the reality of what's going on. Some of it not injuries. You talked about DK Metcalf. Two things are true at once. He should not have made the decision to go and approach that fan. But listen, fans need to get it together too. This is driving me nuts that fans can just go out and absolutely harass. I mean, it's harassment in some of these cases with these fans. And so I wanted to bring in Marcus Spears, his take on what it means to the Steelers that they're missing DK Metcalf. This was actually before the game, but we saw it all play out, Bobby. They couldn't score points. They tried 4 times from inside the red zone to try to throw. If they had DK Metcalf, I'd feel a lot. You never know. It's all hypotheticals, but I'd feel really good about me saying I think the Steelers would have won yesterday.
Of course,
if they had DK Metcalf. Here's Marcus Spears.
Good point, MK. It's the worst possible time not to have him. And it's not because they don't have an opportunity to win these 2 games. It's because this team has been ascending the last 3 games, and he's been a part of that. look, we just coming off of 4 weeks ago talking about this team having no identity, didn't know where this offense was going to go. They weren't making explosive plays. And in 1 week, it was Aaron Rodgers, the DK Metcalf in particular, that changed that volume on no passes over 15 yards. And you started to see this offense start matriculating and rolling. And he was a big part of that. MK, you just came off talking about the gravitational pull that Christian McCaffrey has. DK does this for them down the field, like you mentioned. So it's going to get harder for an offense that we've seen struggle for a large majority of this season. And I want to see how they're going to adjust. Obviously, the run game can be something that can be strong for the Pittsburgh Steelers if they can get that going. The one thing that players will tell you all the time, it is hard to play against the Cleveland Browns. I know they don't win a lot of games, and I know they're never
Okay, we'll stop it there because he's going to talk about the Cleveland Browns. But, I mean, it is, Bobby, on top of DK Metcalf missing, their tight end, Darnell Washington, broke his arm during that game against the Browns yesterday. At the time, he was leading the team in receptions and reception yards in the game. So now what you have is no Darnell Washington. You've got no DK Metcalf. And then yesterday, we'll see if he comes back, but Austin wasn't in there either. And so that's three of your top guys. You've got Freiermuth left. You've got Gainwell. And then, Bobby, look all the way down because they just signed Aaron Rodgers' old teammate, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. And he was like the main guy yesterday. He was the main guy. Aaron Rodgers targeted him 4 times in the end zone and couldn't get it done. It's a major loss on the offensive side.
MVS was the guy in the end, too, with the game on the line, who he targeted in the right-hand side of the end zone, that 50-50 ball. You want to know who's pretty darn good with coming down, which is what you were alluding to, with 50-50 balls? DK Metcalf. So, man, look, I don't disagree with you at all. That fan was in the wrong. There's clearly a history there. He very clearly, with footage that was captured from behind where he was sitting in that Detroit bleacher, celebrated when DK went and retaliated and slapped him, whatever he did. And so that's terrible, right? It's just terrible. It's terrible that exists. It's terrible that can be done within the arena of professional sports. And ultimately, I can't imagine he's going to be sitting at a Lions game, maybe even another NFL game anytime soon. But Sarah, there is a level of selfishness that comes with that. If you're DK Metcalf, you have to be looking at it from a greater lens, a greater picture. And the fact that he is not going to be a part of this Steelers run for the next 2 weeks. Look, Ravens aren't sorry for it. Ravens aren't going to be probably, feeling any type of way about that, other than, all right, it's open season. Let's go beat this team while they are in shambles. And hey, with all that said, I think this is going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be one of those all-out type games. Matt Ryan talked about it on CBS yesterday. He's like, guys, both teams come Wednesday, Thursday, right? Heavy install days, heavy practice, intense days, getting ready for the week. Ain't going to be that, right? Save everything you got for Sunday night primetime in Pittsburgh. It's going to be one of those classic Ravens-Steelers rivalry games that we're going to be talking about, regardless of the outcome, for a long time.
Well, and meanwhile, while all that's going on with DK Metcalf and the receiving core, there's also the fact that Aaron Rodgers could be facing NFL discipline because he just straight up called it out after the game. He did not agree with the refs on that final play on 4th down, and said, "Oh, that was definitely interference." Like, he feels like he was interfered with. I mean, you can see his face right here in the post game. He is not happy. He is not happy. And Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin, they're saying all the right things. Oh, we have capable guys. We have other guys who can step up. But that's not what I saw yesterday. Now, here's the thing, though. Aaron Rodgers was majorly concerned with Myles Garrett, who was looking to become the new single-season sack record holder. So much so, he was so concerned about it that, let me see where it's at. Myles Garrett himself at the podium said, quote, "I feel like to an extent they were more worried about keeping me away from Aaron than getting the win. And I think that's what came to bite them." That's what he thinks. And I mean, it was the entire broadcast. They're talking about it because you could see the back and forth between Aaron and Miles the entire time. And it's like, congratulations, you prevented him from setting the record. He still has one more week to try, but you didn't win the game. Meanwhile, on their other side of their ball, according to Pro Football Talk, and we're going to have to see, but Mike Florio says that a source told him that TJ Watt, because of his lung surgery, I still can't believe that happened, he's a long shot, according to a source to Mike Florio, to play next weekend versus the Ravens. Quote, never say never, but not an ideal timeline to be fully cleared. And Bobby, during the game, the broadcast talks about it. They said he has to have a week of every single day full participation. So there's a chance there will be no TJ Watt. There will be no DK Metcalf. We'll check out Calvin Austin. And meanwhile, maybe Aaron Rodgers is going to be ticked off a little bit more if he gets any fines or anything for talking bad against or criticizing the refereeing with that final. And I think it was 50-50, by the way. Maybe they could have thrown a flag, but I feel like on fourth down, you got to let him play.
Oh, and by the way, like you already mentioned earlier on, just to add one more name to your list, Darnell Washington just broke his arm.
Yeah.
So we said
mentioned that earlier, and I forgot to bring it up as a recap.
Yeah, you threw that in there. I mean, he had one catch for 12 yards in the first time these two teams met earlier this month. But his presence alone, I mean, he's just a big body tight end, bruising blocker. Just look out for that player, and the Ravens won't have to coming up on Sunday night. So that's a big deal as well. And like you have up on the screen here, I mean, look, they've been getting a lot from their outside linebacker room without TJ, but obviously any chance you have to get a first ballot Hall of Famer back in your lineup, you're going to take that and run. And it sure seems like, based on Mike Florio's reporting, that's not going to be the case. Sarah, they just couldn't move the ball on Cleveland. And think about this. You had a missed field goal from Boswell, the ever reliable Boswell. Shador throws 2 interceptions, gifts you 2 interceptions, and yet you can only manage 6 points against Cleveland. I get it. This is a championship caliber defense. Baltimore native Jim Schwartz. I mean, come on. Play caller of the year on the defensive side of the ball. You can't be when you only have 4 wins, but you get the point. The Baltimore native helps out his hometown team. Ravens get what they needed from a Cleveland team. And we all watched that. Let's be honest. I watched every single second, every single snap of that game. And outside of the end of the second quarter going into halftime and 2 minutes at the end of the fourth quarter, Pittsburgh could not move the ball effectively on Cleveland. We will see what happens on Sunday night. I expect the Ravens to, as they always do week after week, to stop the run effectively against the Steelers, and they will be susceptible to the pass, even without DK Metcalf. I think Freiermuth will find ways to get open. After that, it's like, okay, who's it going to be? Kenneth Gainwell is actually at the running back position, Sarah, a lot of which have been check downs and screens. Mm-hmm. He's actually their second leading receiver when it comes to receiving yards. So we're going to have all the time in the world to dissect their offense, how the Ravens will go about stopping it. But obviously the elephant in the room is, will number 8 be back out there under center? We're going to get into that throughout the show.
Yeah, let me just say one other thing. That's what we kind of have to ask ourselves. Like, were they held to 6 points because they're so beat up, and they were 3 of their top pass catchers were out, or was Cleveland that good of a defense? And I think it's a little bit of both. The Ravens don't have a Myles Garrett. The Ravens defense is not as good as the Cleveland Browns defense. So I do not expect the Ravens defense to keep the Steelers to 6 points, but I like to see them keep them at 20 or under. Yeah. You should be able to win if you keep them to 20 or under. With how beat up they are, there's no reason that you can keep them under 20 points, that you can't do that. You better do that with the game, with the season on the line.
It's going to be about bowing up in the red zone. I mean, this is the same stuff we talk about all the time. Bowing up on third down. Steelers were just 3 for 15 yesterday. It's not winning formula on third down. Tyler Huntley's offense, led by Derrick Henry on Saturday night, 10 for 14 on third down. I'm not expecting that whatsoever on Sunday night. But who's going to move the ball effectively and bow up on third down when it comes to defenses, and obviously on the offensive side of the ball as well? I do expect, like you're kind of alluding to here, I think the Steelers will move the ball through the air on the Ravens. Will they stand tall in the red zone? Who will prevent more touchdowns and settle for field goals and ultimately have a chance to win the game, which I think is going to be done in one of the final couple of possessions in the fourth quarter. Exactly what the NFL wants, exactly what maybe not Ravens Steelers fans wants, but man, the drama that's going to be setting up, Sarah. It's the final game of the season, regular season wise too. There's no Monday night game next week. So everybody's going to be waiting until 8:20. We're all going to be there. We're going to be ready to roll coming up 6 days from now in Pittsburgh. So, and hey,
which is, by the way, which is good for the Ravens. We forgot to mention this a while back. The Ravens have a much better record on the road than they do at home. Let me see what it is here. On the road, they are 5-2 this year, and at home, they're 3-6. Now, obviously, the quality of opponents play into that because they have played better opponents at home than they have away. But they've been road graders this year. When it comes to primetime, however, the Ravens have not been great in primetime. 7 of their 17 games have been there, including their final 3. They're 2 of 4 so far, both primetime wins on the road. So we shall see.
Imagine that. And imagine us having a new sponsor to kick off the new year in a couple of days. That's exactly what we have. It's our friends at ZipRecruiter. If you're hiring for your company, this is a busy time of year. You got new 2026 goals, I'm sure, and that means finding the right people to accomplish those goals. You also maybe have new hiring challenges for 2026, like filling specialized roles or identifying qualified candidates from a huge pool of applicants. Lucky for you, there's a place that you can go to help you conquer these challenges and achieve your hiring goals, and that is our friends at ZipRecruiter. Right now, you can try it for free by visiting ZipRecruiter.com/audio. You can let ZipRecruiter help you find the best people for all of your roles. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. You can see for yourself. And again, try ZipRecruiter for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/audio. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/audio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. We appreciate them being on board. We always love new sponsorship opportunities, and we always love when super chats come in. Already 20 of them so far, beginning with James, Sarah, and this one's for you to get us started.
Thank you, Miles and the Browns. The jersey is on the way. Let's finish business and get that home playoff game looking like it could be the Texans. Are we ready for that rematch? I think so.
Could be Houston, could be Buffalo. There's a lot of different scenarios in terms of who it could be. And obviously, Sarah, as we both know, there's a lot that needs to happen between now and then in order for that to come to fruition. Gabagool says, what's it like having a chance to get into the playoffs? Asking for a friend. Prophet_Q says, Prophet. Bobby, 2 for 2 with random game stat lines. What do you mean by that? Pete is here from
He's
his
calling
college
you a prophet
semester.
that you predicted something correctly. I don't know which ones, though.
Oh, Cleveland.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Pete from Sarah. Pete is a college, what are you? Sophomore or junior, Pete? I forget. At Salisbury on the Eastern Shore. So I was going to say joining us from the college dorm, but I would think he's on Christmas break right now. So Pete's here.
Pete says, anything short of a Super Bowl, please fire Harbs.
Take another one from Justin.
Not giving up on that one. We need Lamar Jackson. Oh, no, we need Lamar back for this game. The Steelers' defense is way better than the Packers. Henry will be shut down, and Huntley isn't out-dueling Rodgers. No disrespect to Huntley. Regardless, go Ravens.
Thanks, Justin. Kobe saying hashtag wrists up. Perfect timing from Shador Sanders, which reminds us that we did have this in here from Daniel Oyefusi. Of course, Snoop Huntley joked and was probably serious about, hey, I want to call I want to call my former teammate in Cleveland, Shador, in his post-game press conference. Well, the game ended up being late. You had to travel back to Baltimore from Green Bay. Shador ended up calling Snoop the morning before, helping to upset, and it was mostly a defensive win. But I thought Shador played well in the first half. A couple poor interceptions, one of which was really just an ill-advised throw behind his receiver. But the two talked, and Shador ended up doing his part there.
Yeah, here's Shador on it.
Let's go. So,
but just
I
that conversation.
I think, I don't know, I gotta check the phone. But I think I had like a missed call from him, and then, or a text, something. I don't know, then I just called him over, like 6:30, called him. I'm like, dang, bro, why are you still up? And he was like, bro, I'm excited, bro. He was excited they just got the win, and he was definitely words of encouragement and stuff for me. But that's just how he is. Like, he not just doing that just because it gives them, a chance now. I think the overall person he is and the time that we have spent together, he did nothing but speak life into me, and I truly appreciate him for that.
Perfect timing indeed. The Ravens had fun with that as well. A photo of Kyle Hamilton with his wrists up, the sack on Shedeur Sanders that he got, baptizing him in the NFL when they played one of their 2 times that they played this season. Sarah, the Ravens social media accounts had some fun yesterday.
Yeah, and it's just so interesting to me how much Tyler's teammates love him. Like, there's nobody that cheers harder for Tyler Huntley than Lamar Jackson, but maybe Shedeur Sanders is number 2. He just seems like such a good dude who supports the guys that he's backing up. And then so when he actually does have a chance, both Shedeur and Lamar clearly love him.
Made himself some money this season as well, if we've seen the last of Tyler Snoop Huntley, if that remains the operative word. Douglas H. Brown Sr. with a 50 spot today on a Monday. DHB Senior, Happy New Year to your brother. Hope you had an awesome holiday. He writes, wanted to stop in and make a support payment, Sarah.
Oh, we appreciate you, Douglas. It's been a minute. Glad to have you back. Glad to have anybody back that was like dreading all these different games, and now there's hope again. Glad to have everybody back.
I'll just say this, Sarah. I saw in our inbox on the Vault and our Gmail page that we have an unanswered email from Park Heights Prophet. So we'll have to go check that out as well. People are perhaps coming out of hibernation. Not that PHP would ever give up on the season, because I'm pretty sure I saw the subject line and it was as if to say he never lost hope. But obviously, from a viewership standpoint, the commitment that goes into being with us and withstanding all the punches that you've had to take as a Ravens fan this season, we know that is easier said than done. Fam 200-532 is here with us.
No matter however the season has gone, beat your rival and their season. We can beat anyone of we play how we played. If we play how we played Saturday, this is a playoff game.
Hayes says, was at the game. Lambeau was beautiful with a dub. Rave says, am I the only person feeling like this? One side, I'm happy for Lamar to play in the playoffs, but the other side, I'm like, wait, we need John Harbaugh fired. Sudesh is here.
Good win. Thanks, Cleveland. #Ravens.
And another one from Jack.
What's up, guys? What do you think about splitting snaps with Lamar and Snoop? If Lamar seems to be hold back the team. I would not split the snaps. You go with one way or the other. We'll talk more about that in a minute.
Steve says the Steelers are 3-1 against Huntley, so if Lamar can practice this week, he should play. You go with your MVP QB and let him try to get it done. Sunkissed.
For your selective amnesia, Harbs with a straight face said, quote, we didn't bring Henry to the Baltimore Ravens for 25 to 30 carries. Close quote. Get him and his crew out of here. He says Sunkissed. Lamar and Snoop all the way.
Sarah, I hope Derek's cold tub on Sunday and everything he's about to do over the next few days works wonders for him, because you already know he admitted to probably being sore in his post-game press conference. And I hope he knows darn well that they're going to him again. And they
he admitted to being sore. He admitted being sore, but he said, but I'm built for this. This is what I trained for.
Well, the Ravens better be built for understanding what they need to do until somebody says otherwise, meaning the Steelers coming up on Sunday night. Dozy Dope says Snoop might need to see a rotation. 2, and if we somehow win the Super Bowl.
Rotations, Bobby. I don't want to hear that word. I'm no rotations at running back in terms of like being your crutch of when you have people in. I do not want to hear the rotation. I definitely don't want to hear it with quarterbacks either. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have an aversion to that word now.
You are scarred based on the word rotation. It is not to be used again, Dozy Dope, from this point forward inside the vault. He goes on to say, if we somehow win the Super Bowl, Harbs needs to do the honorable thing and retire with 2 rings. Happy holidays, flock. Wildlife Wale.
He said, I wanted us to draft DK when we drafted Hollywood, and I've been low-key bitter since. DK pushing that fan was a great play for us, though.
As psychotic as that guy is, are you guys rejoicing in his decision to go after DK and ultimately getting what he was looking for, a response? Nikita says, one thing about this podcast fan base and the Ravens organization, we've been forged like steel and built for it all. I have a gut feeling this is going to be special. And look who it is. Park Heights Prophet making his way inside the vault with a super chat.
Yes, PHP, it says, and it was all still possible. Limitless 2011.
Oh, Anthony, it's so good to have you back, brother. Kobe says the level of play around the NFL has been terrible. This year's Super Bowl champ is a toss-up, so why not us? Is there any current playoff team that could beat us 8 out of 10 times? I don't see it. We just need to make the dance. 8 out of 10 is rich. 8 out of 10 is rich. I think there's a lot of teams that, as the Ravens are currently constructed, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, could put the Ravens in a position where I would be doubtful that they could hang with them in terms of points scored that were needed. But 8 out of 10, maybe not. MDaddy006 is here.
Says if Lamar is not over 85% healthy, play Snoop. Munkin clearly calls the most relevant, effective, and situational-based game when Snoop is in. It's disgusting, he says.
Ivory says, thanks, Shador and the Browns. Even though you all say you didn't do it for your former selves, LOL. Hashtag Raven Dogs. Wildlife says, hey, Bobby, did you finally raise your watch up yesterday? We just had some fun with that. I know the Raven social media team did exactly that, Wildlife. Paul Warren has become our newest channel member, an official VAULTRON status here inside the vault. And Dark Thunder 35 is back.
The dink and dunk offense with Snoop will not work, especially when our defense can't pressure a 40-year-old Rodgers. We need Lamar to not only play, but to look to run in the playoff game.
D-Row79 celebrating 7 months of channel membership. All I'm going to say is it has never been pretty when the Ravens went to the Super Bowl. Prophet Q, another one.
Defensive score a few weeks ago, Henry, 30 carries.
Spartacus says Lamar is going to save Harb's job again. Edwin Rice says, I pray our coaching staff doesn't get in the way of proper game planning. Steelers can't stop hashtag 22. We keep them under 20 points. We should be fine. If Lamar is physically compromised, start Snoop. And Dreams is here.
This game can be won, but I don't care who Pittsburgh has at receiver/tight end. The defense needs to clean up on 3rd and long. Amen.
Ivory Smith says, if Lamar's not 89% or better, let Snoop start. And Alicia says, I'm a diehard Ravens fan, meaning Lamar fan, but part of me feels like maybe Snoop should take us there. And that brings us to the end of Super Chats for the moment. We'll get back to more as they come in. And let me just briefly tell you guys quickly that this is the final call, which we will announce on the 1st later this week. It's the final call for this month's Fanatics Ravens gift card team store giveaway that we're doing. It's a $100 gift card courtesy of our friends at Primary Residential Mortgage. Go click on the link that we have included in the show notes. There's also a pinned comment right now in the live chat for those of you that are watching in real time. And if you go to Primary's Instagram post that you see on the screen right now and you comment with the hashtag Vault and tag 3 friends that you'd buy a house with, you follow them, and you subscribe to us, you will be eligible for our random giveaway that we will announce later on this week. Again, it is $100 to Fanatics. It's the Ravens team store. There's fantastic drip and merch on there. Go check it out. And if you want to go the extra mile, either scan the QR code that you see on the screen or copy and paste that Google Forms link that's in the live chat. I should say it's in the show notes, and it's also in the caption of this Instagram post. Fill it out. Takes less than 30 seconds. We'll easily be able to reach out to you so you can claim your $100 Fanatics gift card giveaway winner. Okay, partner, let's continue on with the content.
Yeah, let's keep going. So obviously, we just kind of covered the Steelers side coming off their loss, but going into this next week, there's so many questions surrounding the quarterback position. It's kind of like 3 different angles we need to take with this next topic, Bobby. There's is Lamar going to play? Is he healthy enough? If he's sort of in the vicinity, should it be him or Huntley? But then also we need to address the play calling and the absolute difference that we saw in how the coaches called the game last week for Tyler Huntley versus how they've been doing it for Lamar Jackson. And on top of it, John Harbaugh was holding a play sheet. So there's so many things to talk about this quarterback position as we go in. But let's start with this on whether or not Lamar will play. Now, yesterday, according to Ian Rappaport, He was on the NFL Network, and he made it sound like Lamar will play. You can see at the bottom of this chyron with the NFL Network, it says Lamar Jackson likely to return next week at the Steelers. Then Jay Glazer on Fox after the Bills game went on and said the Ravens are very optimistic that Lamar Jackson will play versus the Steelers. But then you had something from Adam Schefter?
I did. Schefter had this to say this morning. It certainly comes across to me as more of an assumption based on where the last time Lamar was when we heard from him, which was 8 days ago after the Patriots game. But for whatever it's worth, here is ESPN insider Adam Schefter this morning.
That the Baltimore Ravens go into this week preparing as if Tyler Huntley will be the starter. Wow. Lamar Jackson has missed at least one practice 7 straight weeks. He himself and John Harbaugh talked about how painful that back injury was. He didn't practice last week. They ruled him out right away. I don't see any evidence right now that tells me that they can count on Lamar Jackson being there on Sunday night. Now, he might make it back this week. We'll see how that back recovers. But I think you have to plan as if Tyler Huntley is going to be a starting quarterback Sunday night in what could be Aaron Rodgers' final game.
3 insiders, Sarah. Does anyone really know at this point in this current junction? Who knows? Only Lamar knows, perhaps. Maybe even he himself is like, gosh, I got to get myself to a certain point to realistically know that I'm going to put my team and myself in the best position, knowing that at the end of the day, if you can find a way to get past the Steelers, it is literally a clean slate. And speaking to the parity that we've talked about all season long in both conferences, but in this case, the AFC, maybe it is anybody's game, anybody's world in the NFL a couple weeks from now when Wild Card Weekend gets underway.
So I will say, based off of these 3 insiders, yeah, I that was the first time I listened to Adam Schefter. He definitely is not citing any sources. He's not saying, hey, this is him doing what we do, which is like looking at evidence and then making a prediction. So yeah, Adam was not like reporting anything, whereas it felt like the other 2 insiders were. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter because I feel like in years past, John Harbaugh has said that he's optimistic Lamar will be back. And then it didn't end up being true. So the only person that's going to determine whether Lamar is healthy enough to play is Lamar. Lamar's not going to tell anybody in the media. And sometimes we wonder, is he telling his coaches? I don't know. We don't know if he's going to play.
Sure.
But go ahead.
The way you view rotation is how I view the word optimistic.
Yeah.
No, I don't want nothing to do with that because I don't know.
So anyway, okay, so that's all up in the air. That's all up in the air, how healthy he is or isn't, which is why the debate is going on. Should the Ravens go with Lamar? Should they go with Tyler Huntley? We will give our opinions in just a second. On the other side, Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochocinco get heated. Chad is like shocked that Shannon Sharp is like, yeah, stay with Tyler Huntley.
Joe,
what's up?
We put a poll up. It's closer than you think. Only 54% of the chat said they would start Lamar Jackson over the Steelers next week.
This is a funny one. I like Snoop. I much respect to Snoop, obviously. They won the game running the ball. It had nothing to do with the quarterback play.
Yes, it did. Joe, don't do that.
I'm confused.
Joe, don't do that.
I didn't do nothing.
You did.
Look, Derrick Henry ran for 2,000 yards against the Green Bay Packers.
So what about that touchdown pass? What about those timely throws? They didn't do nothing, huh? What about those timely runs?
Y'all can't be serious. You can't be serious.
I'm dead ass. I'm confused. You see,
I'm confused. You played it. You have your season on the line with a chance to not only win the AFC North, but to make the playoffs. And you talk about starting your backup. What are we talking about?
You make it seem. So let me ask you a question. If Lamar Jackson is healthy, why wasn't he starting in Green Bay?
He wasn't healthy.
There you go. That's my point.
Well, he's gonna be healthy this week.
How are you so sure? Who said that? You a doctor?
No, I ain't.
Last I checked, you're not Leanne Curl. I know Leanne Curl, the team doctor.
But I can tell you this: I guarantee he'd be healthy, and I bet he play.
Ocho,
I guarantee you that.
I'm saying, Ocho. All I'm saying is, is that he needs to be 100% or as close as possible. Because if he's not, Ocho,
Who's 100% in week
Snoop
18?
Huntley. Snoop
Nobody.
Huntley. Snoop Huntley.
I mean, you saying this shit sober?
Sober. Tweeted it early, too.
These two, man.
Chad Ochocinco's beside himself there for sure. All right, Bobby, do you have an opinion on this? Do you have a preference of what they do?
I think what they should do is ultimately ask Lamar. Because if Lamar is feeling as if basically where I'm at on this, Sarah, is pretty simple. The last we heard from Lamar was 8 days ago, and we watched a player voluntarily make himself available after leaving the Patriots game to the media in the locker room. He could barely stand up, and when he spoke, he was wincing as if to say, I am in extreme pain because of the back contusion that we now know. We didn't know it then. We know it now. It's a back contusion. If that's a player who, yes, looked jubilant and engaged and interactive on the sideline Saturday night in Green Bay, which was encouraging, it's a far cry from stepping over the line, as Terrell Suggs always says. If Lamar can't go, I trust in him that he's making the right call for himself and, more importantly, for the team. Because Tyler Huntley has executed this offense based on the way that Todd Monken has dialed up, which, yes, to your point earlier on, is extremely different than when Lamar is out there. And he's beaten good teams, 2 teams that'll play in the playoffs in the NFC, Green Bay and Chicago. Does that mean that he'll be able to go out and beat Pittsburgh? I have no idea. We're going to save our predictions for later in the week, depending on how all the availabilities play out. That's where I'm at. If Tyler Huntley gives them the best chance to win, not based on who the quarterback of the future is, not based on ability, but based on physical awareness and ability right now, then it should be Snoop. And ultimately, I think that's, Sarah, that's not up to Dr. Curl. That's not up to John Harbaugh. That's not up to anybody else besides the player himself, and that's Lamar Jackson.
That's why this isn't even really a debate to be had. Because if Lamar Jackson walks into the castle and says 3 words, I can go, it's nobody's going to question that.
Correct.
Nobody's going to question that. And of course, on the outside, we're out here and be like, well, if Lamar's like 85% or 80% or 90% or whatever, like all this debate's going to mean nothing. If he goes in there and says, I can go, nobody's going to bat an eye. Tyler Huntley's not going to bat an eye. John Harbaugh's not going to bat. Nobody is. Lamar will be the starter. To your point, it will be up to him. That being said, I want to make sure that Lamar Jackson kind of asks himself the following question, okay? Because, listen, when they're both healthy, there's nothing that Tyler Huntley can do that Lamar Jackson can't do. But there's so much that Lamar can do when he's healthy that Tyler Huntley cannot. Without a doubt, Lamar Jackson, you know we all love Snoop. We've got so much respect for Snoop. The 2 wins he's gotten the Ravens this year, we're so grateful for that. It's huge. And so here's what Lamar needs to ask himself, though, because here's what Tyler Huntley brought last week that Lamar hasn't been able to bring since he's been injured. Okay, number 1, Tyler Huntley was a healthy runner. Okay, like Chad Ochocinco made a good point. I mean, he said it was 2,000 yards. It was obviously 200 yards for Derrick Henry. Like, and they didn't even have to do a ton of RPOs. Like, Derrick Henry was just on fire. They could just hand it off, and he was bulldozing dudes, running him over, stiff arming. It felt like they were, in some ways, it felt like he was tackling the defenders because it was always the Denver defenders just grabbing him and holding on for dear life. Okay. But there were a few times where there was a quarterback draw in crucial situations. There was a scramble that he was able to convert in critical situations. Okay, so that's number 1. Lamar needs to ask himself, can I be a healthy runner that is actually posing as a threat? Okay, when we're healthy, we know he's a way better runner than Snoop. But he's got to ask himself.
I'll add this on for you too. Snoop was he was toting that thing 7.5 yards per carry. He had 60 yards on the ground. So what you were referencing there, whether it was early downs or a couple key third downs, which either he was moving the chains through the air with his arm or his legs, decisively taking what the defense gives him and moving the ball and moving it efficiently, that was a key component. Derrick stole the headlines, but the nuance in terms of moving the ball and keeping drives alive was all due to Snoop.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so that's what Lamar needs to ask himself. The second thing that Tyler Huntley brought, which Lamar has brought most of his career, especially last year. Remember, he had a historic year in terms of touchdown to interception ratio. But this year, it feels like there's been more turnovers. We have been saying over and over and over again, if you don't turn the ball over, you're going to win a ton of these games. Last week, between Derrick Henry and Snoop, they played clean football. So Lamar needs to do that again. He needs to get back to that. So those are the two things: healthy runner, clean football. The other thing that Snoop did, which I don't know that has to happen, but him and the quick passing. He does the quick passing, but it's also because he can't extend plays the way Lamar can, make these big plays down the field. But what I would like to see from Lamar is to take the easy layups when they're there, and not risk the turnovers. The final thing, and this should not be dependent on Lamar or Tyler, but some people are asking if it is. Bobby, it's the play calling. The difference in the usage of Derrick Henry with Tyler Snoop Huntley on Saturday, the way it was versus the New England Patriots, which is why we were all crashing out, is because they weren't using Derrick Henry enough. And when you have a quarterback who's pushing through injuries the way Lamar has, it makes it even more. And the fact that you're in December football and the fact that it was the fourth quarter, they weren't using Derrick Henry. And so suddenly, with Tyler Huntley there, he has a career day in terms of rushing attempts. And so a lot of people on Twitter pointed it out. The difference in play calling with Lamar and Huntley is actually night and day. What's wrong with these coaches, dog? Alex Glaze here says, side note, I don't recall, by the way, this is a new development that we've noticed. Side note, I don't recall ever seeing John Harbaugh hold a play sheet. Then Cole Jackson, Todd Monken, at one point, it was 3rd and 5, and Tyler Huntley called an audible and gave it to Derrick, and Derrick converted on 3rd and 5. So Cole's like, Todd Monken won't call run, so Tyler Huntley audibles into it with some laughing emojis. So, okay, I do think that when you have a backup quarterback, you lean into your running game more. That is generally true. But I also think because the Ravens were so heavily criticized, that's another reason why they leaned into Derrick Henry so much. And then lo and behold, lots of people noticed John Harbaugh holding that play calling sheet, which I don't remember happening, Bobby. I don't know if you do. So part of me wonders, is he like behind the scenes? It feels like secretive to us because we're on the outside. Is he behind the scenes because he has openly criticized Todd Monken for not running enough? Like, is he saying, you know what? I'm just going to take over here and I'm going to have more of a role in the play calling. I'm going to make sure that Derrick Henry's out there more often. I'm going to make sure his numbers called more often. He was out there on 3rd downs when he normally isn't. The rotation that they had before of like 2-1, that was out the window. And so, like, I hope somebody asked John Harbaugh today at the press conference, like, you holding a play sheet, like, are you taking a bigger role in the offensive play calling? Because I haven't seen that ever, but I guess I haven't really been looking for it either.
He denied it on Saturday night in the postgame interview, in his postgame press conference. This was the exchange that he had with Jonas Schaefer of the Banner.
Some fans took note of like the play sheet that you're holding. I don't know if you normally do that on a week-to-week basis, or did you have any more kind of oversight of the offense tonight?
Oh, no. The same play sheet I always have. Yeah.
He says no with a smirk. Did you have more oversight within the offense than usual? Great question. The answer leaves us wondering even more so than we are right now, Sarah, if there's any truth to what he's denying.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, I like to take people at their word. He's saying he's taking the same amount. Okay. Well, then all this does is bring me back to this, Bobby. Whether it's Snoop or it's Lamar, lean into Derrick Henry. Lamar has been injured. Snoop is your backup. Derrick Henry was built for this. He just said it. It's December football. It's week 18. Your playoff lives are on the line. You're not saving him for anything else. Keep using Derrick Henry. So, like I said, back to the original question, should they start Lamar or Tyler Huntley? That's going to be up to Lamar. If he says, I can go, he will go. Regardless of who it is, please keep riding Derrick Henry. And I loved this tweet, Bobby, Big Cat from Barstool Sports. He said, John Harbaugh with the most, I effed up game plan ever. Can we stay with that? They know that they effed up. They know they effed up. Stay with that regardless of who your starting quarterback is.
Yeah, Big Cat speaking for everyone on that one in Baltimore. Look, this isn't to say that we're guaranteeing a Derrick Henry game like he was able to give them in the wild card round last year, where the Steelers had absolutely no answer, and they didn't have any answer for the run game at all, whether it was Lamar, Derrick, whoever toted it. They had 300 yards, I think 299 to be exact, in the wild card round. No answer whatsoever. Then again, we saw what happened in week 14. They had an answer for Derrick Henry earlier this month. Derrick had 25 carries that afternoon, 94 yards. That's 3.8 per carry. They had an answer for him. But until they come up and solve that in-game answer for Derrick coming up on Sunday night, go for it. And then adjust accordingly from then on. Because this on Sunday night is about will. It's about your offensive line and your chippers and your fullback and your pass protectors and your everybody doing their job to opening up as many lanes and windows for Derrick to do what he does at an all-time great type ability. That's what it's about. It's about will. It's about want. It's about desire. And until they end up stymieing him, which they did effectively, again, to the tune of 3.8 per carry, do it. Do it until you can't.
And do you know why you do it? Because it demoralizes the other team. Bobby, the Packers, Steelers were in shambles. Packers were in shambles. Javon Bullard of the Packers was not happy about the fact that they could not stop Derrick Henry. Here he was in the post-game locker room.
On us, really. I'm going to keep you the buck. So it's on us. We basically just got our ass whooped. Call it like it is. I mean, we knew what they were doing. They ran the ball. We couldn't stop the run. Point blank period. And we got to fix that tomorrow if we want to go past the wild card game in the playoffs. If we don't, we're going to be sending our ass right back in Green Bay.
I mean, I'd be pissed too. It's embarrassing. They might limp into the postseason with 4 consecutive losses. They've already clinched thanks to Detroit's loss the other day. But like literally, they might limp in having lost their last 4 games and still play a wild card game. So look, that's their issue. Green Bay's got to deal with it in the NFC. But to your point, Sarah, there is a fatigue factor when you're dealing with 22 who's going to make sure that he does everything possible because of the consummate professional that he is, and the fact that the day of this game, he will turn 32, and as he continues to just defy all odds, history, age, you name it, to make sure that he is recovered fully so that if he gets the opportunity to go for 30-plus again, he'll be ready.
Clean football. Make sure you're a healthier runner, Lamar, and coaches keep leaning on Derrick Henry. You can do those 3 things. Start Lamar, and you're going to win it. You're going to win it. Those 3 things.
Super chats. You and I, we're on the same page along the lines of the whole Snoop Lamar thing. And honestly,
it's not even a real debate.
Yeah, it's really not. You know, Femi was texting us back and forth this morning, and he referred to it as a debate that he had been seeing out there. And I thought to myself then, what I'm thinking now, it really isn't a debate. And I think he agrees with us. We're all in agreement there in terms of the decision that we'll learn more about that the Ravens ultimately make between now and Sunday night. Blast Hard Cheese says, my handle showed Gabagool earlier. No idea why. Now that is mysterious. Kind of like John's play sheet. Vibe Chuck is here.
Vibe Chuck says, start Lamar. Bears' whole secondary was out. Packers had injuries, including quarterback. Snoop is 3-1 against the Steelers. An injured Lamar can hand off 35 times.
Wildlife says Lamar holds the ball longer, or they call longer developing routes when he's playing. With our line, we have to get the ball out quickly like Snoop does, still starting Lamar if he's cleared to play. You know, something too, Sarah, like Snoop is sort of a 1 or 2 read guy within his progressions. That as a part of the process here as well in terms of, you know, why he gets the ball out of his hands quickly. But again, a lot of that has to do with, you know, Lamar's extending playability that we know that not only Wildlife was referencing, but we all know that he possesses. Dreams is here.
Says love Snoop, but how is he in the NFL with that arm?
Joe Jenkins celebrating 8 months for you.
He says Snoop is 100%. If Lamar is less than 80%, I say let Lamar rest and let Snoop start. Keep Lamar at QB2 in case Snoop struggles. Feed 22 regardless.
Ocean 08, just wanted to know your guys' POV, but I feel like there are tons of people in the media that love talking bad about Lamar because of who he is. Dame 8001
says analysts and fans alike seem to want the Greg Roman offense when the O-line has been bad all season and Henry and others have fumbled games away. #Vault.
Dark Thunder 35, Lamar runs to extend plays, Snoop runs to get positive yards. That's the correction Lamar needs to make. But Dark Thunder, the issue is when you put a great player like that in improv mode in a box, you're holding him back. Now, when he's compromised, I get that. I get what you're saying. But when Lamar is at his full heights, and maybe that's what your point is, that he's not at his full total physical side of things right now. Maybe that's your point that you're making. D-Flying Gravity's here.
Adrian here. We messed up 2018 for not using Flacco. Also, use both quarterbacks. I'm tired of this simulation. Use your weapons. # Super Bowl bound.
Thanks, Adrian. Mike is celebrating 8 months. My question for both of you is if LJ starts and he's out there limited and committing multiple turnovers, would you bench him for Snoop? Only if he asks. Only if he can't go. Only if he can't go is my thought to that. Cage Rattler.
The offensive play calls when LJ is in are what they want the offense to be, and the calls for Snoop is what the offense actually is.
Joe Jenkins, 5 channel memberships, 5 new channel Vaultrons because of Joe's generosity as we approach the new year. Thank you, Joe. Isaiah is celebrating 9 months.
He says Henry was our defense on Saturday. Now that I think about it, without his without his time of possession, Packers put up 40. Or about 40.
Dozy Dope. Trolling about starting Snoop is greater than Lamar, but definitely need those simple play calls and keep Marlowe's fingers taped, meaning his left finger that was stepped on, his hand was, by Tavius Robinson in game. That had to have been extremely painful. Malik Willis, Sarah, thanks to the Ravens secondary, he's getting a lot of buzz this week.
He is getting a lot of buzz. And it's not just against the Ravens secondary, as Kyle Malzahn, I think, is tweeting here. Says Malik Willis will hit free agency after the season. He proved to be a starting quarterback in the NFL throughout his 2 seasons with the Packers. He's had 6 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 977 passing yards, 261 rushing yards. His pitch is simple to other teams. Quote, what you put on tape is your pitch. Now, Bobby, the reason why I brought this in, because he did have a great game and he did look good and he was impressive. But Mike Sando over at The Athletic had a whole article about how the Ravens could very well trade. Here it comes again, trade Lamar Jackson. And he was like, go out and get Malik Willis. He'll be a lot cheaper and you'll have a bunch of first rounders by trading Lamar. And I love Mike Sando. He's great, but I just don't understand what people are thinking. Like, Lamar has been injured. He's not at his top self. We've seen what he is at his top self. Like Malik's having a couple of good games, but I'm not buying into it against the Ravens defense. I'm not buying into it. Like, yeah, he's good, but you don't bank your entire franchise on this guy in his couple of games when you have a 2-time MVP on your team who's just been injured. It's crazy to me that people keep floating out the trade talk. It's bananas to me.
The rest of the quick hits are yours.
All right. Well, this was supposed to be a Drake May tweet. A New England reporter tweeted this out to show that Drake May had one of the all-time best QBRs in a single game with New England beating New York Jets 42-10. He had a 99.8. So it was a Drake May tweet. But look at all these other times in this top 7 list. Of the top 7, 3 of them are Lamar Jackson, also at 99.8, 3 times tying Drake May. So Drake May definitely on his way up, but let's not forget who Lamar Jackson is. You want another tweet? Here's another quick hit for you. Okay.
I am handing the baton off to you.
I'll keep it going. So I just thought it was funny because obviously up at Lambeau Field, the cheer out there for the fans is "Go Pack, Go!" And of course, Patrick Ricard heard something different. He tweeted, the whole game, the fans kept chanting, "Go Pat, go." Appreciate the love from the fans. And at the time, the Ravens or the Browns still hadn't played. So he does #Let's Go Browns. So Good one there, Pat Ricard. Good one. And then I think this is my last one. Finally, as we know, Derrick Henry was voted into the Pro Bowl. And I don't think he could have been less excited. Here's just a small clip with Eric DeCosta giving him the news.
What's up?
Well, Eric.
You good?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, you made the Pro Bowl. First team starter.
Bet. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. I mean, I'm sure you, after the season you had, it's expected, but we got bigger things to do, obviously.
Sure.
Right?
Derrick Henry was not trying to play that up for the cameras. Like, Eric DeCosta was trying to keep the conversation going, but he literally was like, cool, bet. And he started backing away as if he was going to leave the door. And then Eric DeCosta had to keep it going for the cameras. Derrick Henry couldn't care less about making the Pro Bowl. And I think that just tells you, for one, he's done it a million times, but also I just don't think that players think it's as special as it once was. And finally, he mentioned in that clip later on that Daniel Fa'alele is like an alternate. It's like, what does the Pro Bowl mean anymore if Daniel Fa'alele is a Pro Bowl alternate?
So that would have been from last year's, right?
Oh, is that not this year?
I would think that's from last year's, because if they're talking about Fa'alele as an alternate, and I don't think I've seen anything that's been released from this year's, but it's good to know that Derrick last year thinks what I think about the Pro Bowl, even though I get it. There are certain contractual language clauses that help guys out from a professional purpose and compensation standpoint. I respect that. But my goodness, I just wish there was more to play for, more high stakes, much like there was earlier on in the NFL. But what are you going to do? Roy Higgins here, another quick hit, father of Jay, who was just activated off of injured reserve after his knee injury sidelined him for a number of weeks. Roy said, did my son come in the game for the first time in his NFL career as a linebacker and make 2 tackles at the end? Somebody tell his father to calm down. Proud papa. It might be small to y'all, but it's a big deal from a proud papa's perspective. So good for you, Jay Higgins. Good for you, Pops. We had Roy on at one point, Sarah, when he came into the waiting room and didn't have the connectivity at the time. But Roy, congratulations. And Sarah, you never know. Jay's future sure looks bright. Maybe it ends up being special teams to start, but Jay sure showcased a lot in the preseason. Hopefully at some point that materializes into a full-time starting job at some point in his career.
Meanwhile, and this video is from this year. I can confirm that. Obviously, it started making its circulation this year, so it made me, it threw me off there. So my bet on that. But this video is from this year. This is the post-game locker room after beating the Packers, and Charlie Kohler came in at the end because the Ravens had won the time of possession by, what was it? Did you say it was 20 points that they had won the time of possession?
20 plus minutes.
20 minutes, yeah. 20 plus minutes. Anyway, so John Harbaugh is giving a game ball to all the tight ends and offensive line for blocking and doing so well. Charlie Kohler is seriously funny. Here's his reaction in the locker room when he got pulled up.
I just think that there's nothing more beautiful than blocking someone and watching that big, beautiful running back Derrick Henry just sprint down the sideline, and I'm running after him. He's getting farther and farther away, but it's an honor to play next to the O-line. The receivers, honestly, did an incredible job going in there on the blocks, and the safety was big time. Great job by everyone.
Okay, you can break us down.
Right now, Sean!
Family on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Nothing is better than blocking for that big, beautiful running back.
One of our favorite guests I think we've had inside the vault to date. He's just a hilarious player, does not take himself too seriously. And while this might mean, his time in Baltimore could come to an end, I hope he gets an opportunity at some point. It's a contract year for him, and I don't think he's even come close, Sarah, to showing what his NFL ceiling is and can be at the tight end position. So best wishes to him. He's always a breath of fresh air.
Absolutely.
Let's get into some super chats before we get on out of here. At the Word Pimp is celebrating 3 months of channel membership. Always a good one.
He says, just when most thought the book was closed on the Raven season, they get to write their final chapters. Maybe chapters. All the best stories have a plot twist.
And if you could keep us going here while I refresh patrons, get everything updated. We left off with At the Word Pimp towards the end of, we got a bunch today, over 40. So appreciate you guys.
At Row Live 95 says Steelers D attacks underneath routes and plays at the sticks. Their weakness is behind the linebackers. Lamar PA will eat them alive if the line blocks for Henry.
Lamar's play action. I'm back with you now. Poetic says start Lamar if he can go with the game plan they used for Huntley. And Kobe is with us.
Lamar is like the anti-Josh Allen. When Lamar does well, the media wants to talk about how good his weapons are. When his teammates fail, they want to figure out a way to make it Lamar's fault. Hey, is Josh Allen injured? Like banged up?
I don't know, but it certainly begs the question if you guys watched the final play of yesterday's game on fourth down when Sean McDermott and company went for it. I should say the 2-point conversion on not fourth down, the 2-point conversion after scoring.
Yeah.
And he just tugged it. He just tugged the ball left. So I don't know. I haven't been watching enough Bills football to be honest with you.
Here's a ESPN headline. Bills Josh Allen aggravates foot injury, but x-rays negative. So it sounds like it's not like broken or any fractures, but his foot sounds like it's slightly compromised.
Well, that kind of tells the story. Not that we're looking for excuses for the guy, but Sarah, if you watch that final play, I was watching that entire fourth quarter. What a way for Philadelphia to win. But Josh has got to make that. He's got to make that throw 9 times out of 10, I would think. So I guess I get it. It's not easy throwing on the run and backpedaling and everything else that went into that throw, but maybe that explains it that his lower half is not up to par.
So it says it's his right foot that he injured in week 16 win over the Cleveland Browns. It became sore again on Sunday during the Bills' 13-12 loss. They only scored 12 points. Woof. Bills' 13-12 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles after it had subsided during the week. Asked how much he felt the injury affected him during the game, Allen said 0. We'll see.
It's a rough watch. I'm watching it right now, just going back and replaying to refresh my memory, that 2-point try. And it's a throw that most quarterbacks make at a high percentage rate, I would think. Thanks, Kobe. And that brings us to Dozy Dope. Lamar looked like MVP Lamar before that knee to the back, and he definitely looked healed on the sideline. And the Marlowe live, so don't be shocked if the GOAT returns this Sunday. Dozy, I love you, and I appreciate the super chat. Are you really telling me that based on Lamar's appearance for 2.5 seconds on Marlon's Instagram Live and him on the sideline Saturday night in Green Bay is giving you confidence that he'll play? He might play Sunday night, but those are the aspects that you're hanging on to? Goodness gracious.
I'd actually be a little surprised if he didn't play. I guarantee he's going to want to be out there for this. Week 18 against the Steelers to get into the playoffs. If he can, he's going to go. He's going to want to be out there.
You'd think. I just have no feel based on what we saw 8 days ago. And hopefully 8 days and then some is enough to get that back in a position where he feels good to go. No Fuchs given. Let's say that. No Fuchs given. 8698 for you.
He says the same people who want to trade Lamar are the same people who wanted him to switch to wide receiver for the draft.
KP writes, that's a lot of words to say Josh missed an open wide receiver. And Mr. Johan Frizzle is celebrating 6 months with us.
He says,
and Johan writes, if we get in, it's going to be a problem for the AFC. I honestly kind of don't want to play Houston. First round, though. What's the best potential matchup? Yeah, look.
I would still
we'll get there when we get there.
I would still like the Bills at home, and I know we'll have to wait. We get there. Yeah.
Patrons, Neil Harold and father and daughter, David Cool and Octavia Cool. Thank you all for the support that you give us through Patreon on a monthly basis. Thank you for the support. Hope you guys are having a fantastic holiday season and getting ready for the new year. Patreon.com/RavensVault podcast if you're interested in learning more about what we're offering over on that platform. Partner, good stuff.
Yes.
Jam-packed show, compact show. You and I will be back tomorrow for your birthday episode. So hopefully everybody's ready for that. It's your birthday. John's birthday, my youngest brother, he turns 23 New Year's Eve. So it's the back-to-back people in my life birthdays, starting with you tomorrow.
There we go. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a great day. Great
day. The fact that you're working on it. We will be compact. We will be efficient tomorrow. But happy early birthday to you. Looking forward to showing you some love tomorrow with everybody on Tuesday.
Appreciate that. We'll keep it about the show, though.
We'll see about that.
Maybe just a quick happy birthday, and then we keep it rolling.
Won't we see about that? Do you know who you're partnering up with? It'll be fun. And we'll stick to your wishes.
All right.
We will.
All right.
Live chat. Appreciate you guys. Everybody, the audio only audience.
Your comment before we went live, by the way, it looked like we were coming to a gender reveal party.
Yes, it
you
does.
with like the blue, me and the pink. Yeah.
I know it.
Yeah.
We're well represented for sure. Thank you all to our audio only audience that have been with us for 4 years. Gosh, you guys are awesome. To all of our subscribers, to our Twitter audience members that join us on a daily basis, we appreciate all of you. Happy New Year. We will be live all week long here inside the vault as we get ready for a meaningful Week 18 clash in primetime form between the Ravens and Steelers. Thanks to ZipRecruiter. Thanks to Primary Residential Mortgage. Thanks to all of our sponsors, including Mantis Sleep. Thanks to you, partner. For Sarah, I'm Bobby signing off from this Monday Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. Come join us tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern to celebrate Sarah and roll on as we get ready for Week 18 in Pittsburgh.